finish off this Katana Samurai, which is about done here. You can see them cutting through my men. Hey there guys, this is Robin Hood, and today I am bringing you two 1v1s that I played recently in Shogun 2 Total War. And this first one, my opponent is MPM1000. This is on the Bayou Onsen, or however it's pronounced, but you guys can see the map I'll be deploying in the yellow. And man guys, it has been a while since I have done a commentary for a Shogun 2 multiplayer battle, and I've actually been playing quite a bit of Shogun 2 multiplayer recently, but with a completely new mindset to playing it. And you'll see that in this battle. By that, I mean, I used to play Shogun 2 multiplayer to win. You know, I was very competitive in it. I had my one army set up that I used a lot, and I got really good with it, and I'd, you know, get those 30-40 game winning streaks before I would lose. But over time, that's probably part of the reason I got bored with the game. Also, I didn't agree, mostly it was Fall of the Samurai. I didn't agree with a lot of the veterans and the way that it worked out in that game, and I still don't like the veterans and stuff. You know, these days when I fight newer players, I bring only vanilla armies to try to make it fair and interesting, because sometimes they do have some veterans and it's harder to win like that. You know, your only advantage being your general. But I played a guy, and I brought my normal army, and he brought the army I'm using. And let me slow this down real quickly, read my cavalry before it dies. Yari cavalry, Naginata warrior monk cavalry, and a fire cav. And up here we're engaging some light cavalry. Then he's got some very, very nice fire cavalry there. Very nice monk cav. Two of them, and he's got even more cavalry over here. This guy had a killer army. He's got a ton of infantry. No bows that I could see. But real quickly, while this is in, let me actually pause it, continue explaining. I fought a guy with this army. I beat him, but I figured, you know, that's a really interesting tactic. It could work. And he had different veterans set up for it. But basically, nowadays, I'm playing Shogun to have fun, win or lose, trying stuff new. And, you know, this battle, what I want you guys to do after this video is send me in army suggestions. And I'm going to try to use them and say what I think is good about them, say what I think is bad, and, you know, just give tactics to use with that army. Try and switch it up. There's my favorite Katana Samurai unit, the Final Frontier. Gotta love some of the veterans. But this army here, the way my opponent played it, and I screwed it up this battle, as you will see. This was a crazy battle, but there's 3 Yari Ashigaru up front. There's no bows except for a bow cavalry, which I brought here, and they're doing well right now, but I screw up with them later. Then he had a bunch of melee rush units, and I just I didn't look at what he had, but I brought 2 monks, a Nodachi samurai, and 4 katana samurai, and then cavalry. And this army focuses on that melee rush and the cavalry, and the little bit of mobility you have with the bow cav. But here I am attempting to surround his cavalry, and I believe I was managing my bow cav because these guys weren't moving, but that's why I'm charging these monk cav to stop them from swinging around, and now I'm swinging my fire cavalry around behind him. And here was a really good move on my part, getting these Yari Ashigaru out of the line and moving up, because what they're for, these guys are both your meat shield and your defense against cavalry. Now, when you run forward, they're the meat shield. Then you pull them back and don't actually let them get engaged and use them as defense. And that's the one thing I figured out in this battle. But here you can see this light cav kind of chasing my bow cavalry away, and I'm trying to shoot at some, trying to get these Naginata warrior monks over. And right here, I made the mistake of running this way rather than behind my spears. I could have caught that cav and kept my bow cavalry. So that's one mistake on my part, not really knowing the army, and I never use bow calves, so I just wasn't thinking there. Here's my other mistake. He doesn't have any melee or bow units, that is. he has a 100% melee rush army. And while I am making a spear wall here, I am not, you know, I should have maybe left one Yari unit and charged in the rest of my units to deal with the melee and held these guys against the cavalry, because up here you can see my cavalry is doing well. But he had more cavalry and better cavalry, and even with the spears, it's not going to be enough. And at this point, he's got like a full unit of Naginata Monk cavalry. These guys are at 13. They're going to rout pretty quickly. I'm going to try to run my spears back down. But here you can see, basically my opponent had way more melee units than me. So at this point in time, although I have some really good units in the fighting, which you can see some of here, he stacked up his right flank, my left, and he's just kind of running over it, while on my right, I am doing the same to him. You can see I've got sword unit behind him, which I am coming in to hammer and anvil these Waka Raiders. And there they come. So you can see some of the combat there. Yeah, look at that guy getting cut in half by the Nodachi. That has gotta suck. And that guy getting run through. That's nice. Very beautiful. But right here, this is why I should have pulled back those Yari Ashigaru. My general is going to get hit here. My Yari cavalry, I actually pulled them away down here, and they killed those light cav, but my bow cavalry died as well, sadly. And my Yari cav is going to come back and kind of save this, along with my Naginata warrior monks and these Nagin or spear units, the Yari Ashigaru here. But basically, at this point, the battle's very close. My fire... Why'd I call them fire cav? Bow cavalry here. For some reason, that veteran name is fire cav. I don't know why. But I had them charge in here to try to help hammer and anvil a little bit with this sword unit, the final frontier, fighting to the very last, doing their best. Oh, that guy just got wrecked. Yeah, my guys are getting cut apart, and there they're gonna go. They held for as long as they could. Here I'm making another spear wall, trying to stop this charge, but my opponent just has more melee units than me, better suited to this combat. Mine are very depleted at this point, and he's got his Nodachis. Now I do have the one Naginata warrior monk, and I do have the cavalry, and so right now this battle is getting very close. His morale's wavering. I'm doing hammer and anvils with the cavalry, and you can see that there. And it's just going to be if this unit can hold long enough for my cavalry to rout these two. Because if I rout these two units, the battle is over and it's in my favor. But he's going to break through over here. These Nodachis are now going to run into the back of my units there. And you could have argued that I should have hit my cavalry into his general. But there's only 14 of them. And really, I wouldn't have been able to do enough damage fast enough. But these hammer and anvils, you can see they're starting to work. These guys are getting shredded, but they're just not going to rout. And I'm charging my cavalry in and out, as you can see, continuously getting that charge bonus. But it's going to be too little too late. And my opponent is actually going to take this battle. So that's my first try with the army. And at this, by now, this was the first battle with it. I've won like 6 battles after this playing with it, and I'm about to show you guys one of them. But there goes my general. So very good game to my opponent, very close. I feel like had he, brought like a bow unit or two, I actually would have won, just due to having that little bit of extra melee power. His cavalry, my mistakes with the bow cav, I could have caught his cav and had another full unit of cavalry there. So, when using this new army, learned from that, and now I'm going to show you another replay in which I use it a little bit better, and it's kind of interesting because my opponent has some matchlocks. But basically, I encourage you guys try this army. You can alter it however you want. Obviously, like, if you're, and I'll show you the unit stats real quickly. My best unit, of course, my final frontier samurai. And his his swords here just cut up those Nodachis with the bonsai. And I believe that's one thing I took from that battle as well. So we'll check out the second one. This one is on Caldera against Joseph O'Connell 26. And this is like pretty much the biggest map in this game, I do believe. And a very interesting one to fight on. But I learned, one, that the Nodachis there, when used correctly with the bonsai, very powerful. I've tried, you know, Nodachi core and Katana Samurai core before. I find the Nodachis wreck. Katana Samurai seem to hold out longer. So it really depends on how you're using them within your army setup. If you're expecting a long fight, maybe a little bit less Nodachis there. But you know, basically, as I've said, the army setup is the 3 Yari Ashigaru, and then here I believe I did bring more Nodachis. I brought 2 this time. 2 veteran ones there. 3 Katana Samurai. My Naginata Warrior Monk, and a little bit more Cav. So I've got a Fire Cavalry, a Yari Cav, 2 of them, and a Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry. So at this point, I'm fine-tuning the army. Cavalry is a strong point, the Infantry Corps is a strong point, and then the Bow Cavalry here. And there they are, looking very pretty in this evening sun, it would seem. And yeah, you guys can just see the size of this map and how little of an area we're taking up on it. Now my opponent here, he has the 200 range bow monks, and once I enter these guys' range, there's no just sitting there and taking the fire. I either have to go forward and attack or pull back and try to stay out of it with this army, because I don't have the skirmishing power. And here I'm skirmishing a little bit with my cavalry. Let's see, what was I shooting at? Yeah, I was shooting at these guys, and then I realized they were a Katana Hero, which this is a deadly unit, so my bows are gonna do nothing to them with their crazy armor and stats and stuff. So my bow cav running out of there, taking like 2 deaths, maybe 3. Looks like 3 from those bow monks. There's one of those poor souls. But at this point, you can see I'm moving my army up here. Obviously, he has the ranged units, so I'm not camping. I can't camp. He has that advantage. My reason for moving up here is he does have the ranged unit. He has these 2 matchlocks. Okay, they're a threat. And up here, I have the downhill charge on him, and I also am going to get a little bit of protection from those bows. And right here you can see I'm kind of just testing him. I'm sending one of these Yari Ashigaru forward to see what he's going to do. And he's shuffling his forces around. He's got all these Katana Samurai veterans up here in the woods. He's got some Yari Ashigaru and a Yari Samurai, which he's actually going to withdraw as my men approach because of my cavalry up there. There's my general. Let's see if he was wearing his new armor. Yep, there he is. Looking awesome as always. Now, as my cavalry, these guys are going to play a major role. This was actually my first veteran unit right there, but you'll see that a little bit later. So at this point, you can see I have charged down the hill. My bow cavalry did a charge, but got cut up by those Katana Samurai. But here comes my Nodachi with bonsai. I went ahead and put on the bonsai because of the Katana hero in there. And you can see I'm charging in my units little by little, stalling him, seeing how it's developing, and getting those multiple charge bonuses. And now you can see the rest of my troops coming in there. I've got my one Nodachi down farther. Just did a hammer and anvil with these Naginata Warrior Monk cavalry. They're going to head off this way, and they're about to fight some Katana cavalry, and I believe I went after this guy's general as well. Yep, there we go. Here comes my Harris Brigade, and these matchlocks, which were getting ready to fire, now no longer have the chance to do so. My cavalry up here is dealing with some of his, and winning fairly easily there. Better veteran unit. Here's some more cav, my fire cav, and you can see my men just slowly overwhelming. Although over here, this Katana hero cutting the crap out of my men. They just cut through an entire unit and are still pretty much fine. So I'm charging in some warrior monks, just trying to stall them. And here comes even more of my cav. There's the fire cav, which just did a hammer and anvil on these guys, letting this Katana Samurai unit be free. Here's my other 2 cab units wrapping up the last of this. And there's my Harris Brigade of Yari Cavalry doing a massive hammer and anvil, destroying. See how many men went flying there, and this whole section's just gonna rout. You can see my katanas there. Like I said, the Nodachis, quick hit, do very well in the charge. These guys just hold out like crazy, barely taking any losses, and you can see all my cavalry just running around back there. And now my whole army is free to pretty much finish off this Katana Samurai, which is about done here. You can see them cutting through my men. It's their last stand, so we're just trying to finish them up. Yeah, they are literally cutting through these monks, but there they go. They're actually going to rout. So very good game to my opponent. Hopefully you guys learned a little something there using a different army build. I highly recommend you try it. It can be a little tricky, and I'm going to show some more battles with this later. I have one replay where my opponent brought a very skirmish-heavy army, which is partial benefit and also kind of a disadvantage. It's if I make it, if I get to their army, I'm probably going to win. But his skirmishing was really powerful, and, deciding when to attack and how to was really interesting. So there's a lot of different stuff. The bow cav played a big role in that battle, just kind of like mixing up where his skirmishing units were because of the mobility there. The bows can't always turn fast enough to shoot at the cavalry, but there's the stats of that battle. You can see my Yari cavalry, of course, getting the most kills there, and my Katana Samurai finishing up. Nodachis did okay, but since they went in first with that bonsai to tie everything up, and they actually mainly died against the Katana heroes, which I believe, let's see, yep, there's this Katana hero doing a lot of kills for 30 men. I still don't think hero units are really worth it to bring in multiplayer, but they can be used well. And that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Send in army recommendations for me to use. I'll just pick one randomly, thumbs up the one you guys most want to see. And, it doesn't have to be, now this doesn't mean send in troll army setups, but if you want to, like, theme it on something, if you want to do kind of a suck your army setup and see how I find a way to use it tactically, even if I just lose with it, I'll try to pull something good about the army out of it. Obviously, I'm not going to take straight out spams, but yep, that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time with more. Thank you for watching.